I want to talk about something that's just the craziest story, you know, like, and I mean, this is America 2024. Yo, wealthy white couple allegedly kept their black adopted children as slaves, locked them in a barn. Read this article to you. Wealthy white West Virginia couple forced their adopted black children to work as slaves and slept in a barn, according to these disturbing charges. Donald Ray Lantz, 63, and Jeanne Whitefeather, 62, pled not guilty to more than a dozen new charges Tuesday after two teens were found locked in a crumbling shed in ratty clothing. Let's see. Lantz and Whitfield were first arrested in October after a wellness check led to discovery of a couple's 5 adopted children, ages 6, 9, 11, 14, and 16, living in deplorable conditions. They allegedly specifically went and got the children because they were black to put them into slavery on their property. The neighbors, they called the authorities on them 7 times with nobody coming out.
7 times.
7 times.
I mean, and we watched a little video on this as well too. And I mean, they said most of them said they couldn't even go in the house. They were outside sleeping on
concrete floors. They had no shoes. They had sores on their feet. They were forced to work.
They smelled really. I guess the kids smelled really bad. There was no bathrooms, no nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, no running water, nothing at all. So I mean, when you start getting to the point to where we're talking about potential, like, you know, slavery type thing, you look at the conditions that they're in. What are they forced to be in to do after that? Because I'm looking for, like, was there, not saying there was, we haven't heard anything, but was there sexual assault? What's going on here? Why are you asking for specifically black children?
And it says this right here, human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race, and they were used basically as slaves from what the indictment alleges. So there's no question about it, what these people got these kids for. They got them, they're like, we're going to get some black kids, and we're going to make them slaves.
And where did this happen at?
West Virginia.
I mean, I ain't going to say nothing about West Virginia. We already had a conversation about West Virginia, but I mean, why are they giving it? I guess.
You know, hey, that's the whole thing, bro. It's like, you just don't know. Like, when people want to go, there's a lot of kids. It's not just black kids that are in adoption. There's a lot of kids that are in the system that need adopting. You know what I'm saying? These people just specifically went for them. Just like, you know, pedophiles, they go work in Boy Scout places and stuff like that. You just never know what's in somebody's heart until they do something.
That's crazy, man. 5 kids. It's not like these were brothers and sisters from what
no, they're
saying.
just random kids.
Random kids. They let them have 5 kids. When did they're supposed to go do wellness checks on these kids? Yeah,
well, see, that's the whole thing. The system is so understaffed like that. Even out here, there's kids that are struggling and they don't have enough people.
And what were they saying? Like, this is the same state. I believe this state has I believe this state has a bunch of anti women's rights laws. We won't say anything else. Reproductive laws, or whatever you want to call it. You know, so I mean, you guys say, "Oh, send them into adoption." They did.
Well, that's the pro-life crowd. They just want the baby to be born. They don't care if you take care of it afterwards.
They don't care about if you take care of it.
No, they don't. If they cared about that, they'd be like, school lunches would be free.
Man, I know people who've gotten the police called on once. It didn't matter. The police was coming. They might kill somebody when they get there. But these people had the people called on them 7 times, man, with no results. They didn't. They had another kid. They said that was in the house that was like standing by a 15-foot drop. Like, basically with a pole standing between them, like a little kid. I think it was the littlest one.
Yeah, it was the youngest one, just standing there crying.
Just standing there crying. I mean, so obviously, man.
Imagine the abuse that was going on. Imagine the police came, saw the kids, and the people just like, oh, they're fine. They saw the little black kids. They're like, whatever.
Did they go to school? I'm thinking, like, did the kids even go to school?
Why would you let them? Why would you let your slaves? They're not supposed to read and write and learn to read. No, slaves aren't supposed to read and write. You got to kill them if they do.
This is crazy. If you saw the pictures of the people, man, I hope we can put them up online.
We can use
saw the pictures of them. You understand why I'm saying that they shouldn't have. There's no way in hell they should let these people have these kids, man. I don't care. You couldn't have cleaned up yourself enough to have these kids. I guarantee it. It didn't look right to me. Like, you should be overly suspicious of a person's coming in asking for black kids anywhere, but in West Virginia, you need to be overly suspicious.
Well, that's the whole thing. What's the one guy that was he was killing the people? He was sleeping with the gay people and killing them.
Jeffrey
Dahmer. The cop. The reason he did it in a black community, he lived around the black folks because he knew the police didn't care about him and they would believe anything he said.
Yeah, and they did, because there were a few times where they actually had they caught people made it out of his house.
They had the one guy, he was stumbling around. He was like, oh, no, that's my boyfriend. And they took him back in the house. The neighbor called the police on him so much, the police came and arrested her.
And they're like, look, man, it smells over here. It smells like XY. They were in the house. He had a dead body in the house. In the house with him. Like, they just walked out the house and let everything ride. But it's crazy.